everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I like to talk about books, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated book releases for July of 2021. I feel like recently we have been in this peak moment of all these books keep getting announced, or I keep finding out about them that I did not know about at the beginning of the year. So we're really getting to the point with these anticipated release videos where everything I'm talking about wasn't even on my radar 6 months ago, and now I am super excited that they're coming out very soon. So today I'm going to be sharing 7 books with you across all different types of genres that are coming out in July that I am super stoked for. So starting with one of the earlier releases that is coming out on July 6th, we have the 22 Murders of Madison May by Max Barry. I don't even remember how I stumbled across this, but I was so excited when I did because I have read another book from Max Barry called Lexicon, and I read that a very long time ago. I've never talked about it on this channel. I don't believe, I read that way before BookTube was a thing for me, before I was really posting on Bookstagram. It was just like a book I read many years ago, and I really enjoyed that book. That's a book I need to reread to see if I still like it as much today, but to be honest, I forget about it because it wasn't a part of a type of book that I hype up on BookTube or Bookstagram or anything, and it was so long ago that I forgot about that book, I forgot about this author, and then I saw this book was coming out and I was so excited to get to read another book from this author. This is a speculative psychological suspense novel about a serial killer who is traveling through space and time to pursue his victim. So in this story, we have a real estate agent named Madison May, and she is hosting an open house one day, and a client comes in and he says, "I love you in every world." And she's like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And then he murders her. So then you're following a character named Felicity Staples, who is a journalist for a mid-sized New York City newspaper, and she ends up taking on the assignment to research Madison May's murder. But everything about it seems super random, and the suspect is in the wind. But then Felicity spots the killer on the subway right before he vanishes. No one remembers Madison May or Felicity's encounter with the mysterious man. Also, her cat's missing. And then she realizes that she followed him into a different dimension, one where everything about her existence is slightly altered. Honestly, the synopsis gives away a lot of detail, and there's even more, and I really don't want to read much more, but basically you have this man who kills this woman, you don't really know why, after he professes his love for her, and then the investigator who is trying to figure out why this random crime happened and ends up traveling through space and time. So speculative, suspense, psychological, sounds like a good time. Also just love a kitschy title like the 22 Murders of Madison May. What do you mean 22 murders? Are we gonna keep reliving this event in different timelines and dimensions? Because I would be down for that. Next up, coming out on July 13th, is a book that I am interested in, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And that is the Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I have previously read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, and I had complicated feelings about that book, and that is the only thing I've read from Grady Hendrix so far, but I'm still interested in his work. The thing with this book to me is it doesn't sound super original, and so I'm really interested to just see other people's reviews first, just because to me it sounds very much like Final Girls by Riley Sager. So the Final Girl Support Group is a fast-paced thrilling horror novel following a group of heroines to die for. If you know about Final Girls, it just means the last girl standing in a horror film, and so in this book you're following a group of final girls who have defeated the killer, avenged their friends, stood bloodied but victorious, and you're following Lynette Tarkington, a real-life final girl who survived a massacre 22 years ago and has defined every day of her life ever since. And she's been meeting with 5 other final girls, and they have a therapist. They're in this support group all together. And then one of the women misses a meeting, and someone knows about the group and is determined to take their lives apart again, piece by piece. And then they fight together against someone that's killing them. But if you have read Final Girls by Riley Sager or heard of Final Girls by Riley Sager, this is pretty much the same thing. So I'm not super eager to read it, but if it gets incredible reviews, then I'm probably gonna get FOMO and then I'll end up reading it. Next up, also coming out on July 13th, is Appleseed by Matt Bell. This is another speculative novel. It is a longer book, around 500 pages, and it is more of an epic book. So think very big and exciting and action and maybe some complex world systems and whatnot. But this is said to be a book that explores climate change, manifest destiny, humanity's unchecked exploitation of natural resources, and the small but powerful magic contained within every single apple. In 18th century Ohio, two brothers travel into the wooded frontier, planting apple orchards from which they plan to profit in the years to come. As they remake the wilderness in their own image, planning for a future of settlement and civilization, the long-held bonds and secrets between the two will be tested, fractured, and broken, and possibly healed. Then, 50 years from now, in the second half of the 21st century, climate change has ravaged the earth. Having invested early in genetic engineering and food science, one company now owns all of the world's resources, but a growing resistance is working to redistribute both land and power, and in a pivotal moment for the future of humanity, one of the company's original founders will return to headquarters intending to destroy what he helped build. And then in another timeline, 1,000 years in the future, North America is covered by a massive sheet of ice, so we've gone into like the ice age. One lonely sentient being inhabits a tech station on top of the glacier, and in a daring and seemingly impossible quest, sets out to follow a homing beacon across the continent in the hopes of discovering the last remnant of civilization. So this is a very ambitious, wide-reaching novel with multiple different timelines back in history and in the future a little bit and super far in the future with different stages of climate change. It is an unforgettable meditation on climate change, corporate, civic, and familial responsibility, manifest destiny, and the myths and legends that sustain us all. So this sounds very interesting to me. It sounds like a book to just get really submerged and lost in. I love climate change fiction. That is just one of my favorite little sub niches, and so I really think this could be one of my favorite books of the year. I am super excited for it and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Next up, coming out on July 20th, is Nightbitch by Rachel Yoder. Now this one's a weird one, so if you don't like really weird books, you're probably just not gonna like this. So in this story, an artist turned stay-at-home mom becomes convinced that she's turning into a dog. She is an ambitious mother. She put her art career on hold to stay at home with her newborn son, but the experience does not match her imagination. 2 years later, she steps into the bathroom for a break from her toddler's demands, only to discover a dense patch of hair on the back of her neck. In the mirror, her canine suddenly looks sharper than she remembers, and her husband, who travels for work 5 days a week, casually dismisses her fears from faraway hotel rooms. As her symptoms intensify and her temptation to give in to her new dog impulses peak, she struggles to keep her alter canine identity secret. So then she goes to the library to try to find a cure, and she discovers the mysterious academic tome which will become her Bible, a field guide to magical women and mythical ethnography. And she meets a group of mothers involved in a multi-level marketing scheme who may also be more than what they seem. This just gives me such Bunny by Mona Awad vibes. I think this is gonna be the next Bunny. I think this is gonna be the book people are talking about throughout the rest of the year with just like, what the heck did I just read? I am so excited for this one. I hope it is just like as weird as it promises. I hope it goes down rabbit holes and just spins out of control. It sounds like it's going to be a very good time. Next up, also coming out on July 20th, we have For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. So I believe this will be Samantha Downing's third thriller novel, the first being My Lovely Wife, which I have not read yet. The second one, He Started It, which I have read and gave 5 stars and really enjoyed. And then this one, For Your Own Good. So this one has more of an academic vibe to it. It follows Teddy Crutcher, who has won Teacher of the Year at the esteemed Belmont Academy, home to the best and the brightest. He says his wife couldn't be more proud, though no one has seen her in a while. Teddy really can't be bothered with the death of a school parent that's looking more and more like murder, or the student digging a little too deep into Teddy's personal life. His main focus is on pushing these kids to their full academic potential. All he wants is for his colleagues and the endlessly meddlesome parents to stay out of his way. It's really too bad that sometimes excellence can come at such a high cost. So that description leaves much to be desired, and that's exactly how I like my thriller descriptions to be. This sounds like another character that Samantha Downing has created that is just unreliable, untrustworthy, really complex and interesting, morally gray. This whole like academic thriller vibe is really popular right now. It sounds similar to The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, which I have not read yet, but I will be reading them around the same time. So hopefully I enjoy that vibe and aesthetic, but it's Samantha Downing, so I don't think it's gonna let me down. Next up, coming out on July 27th is another poetry collection from Maggie Smith, and that is called Goldenrod. I really enjoy Maggie Smith's poetry. I've been following her on social media for several years now. I talked about her book Keep Moving that came out last year. That was like poetry and essay collections, and was inspired by a series of tweets that she used to do where she would just give an encouraging message every day, ending with the note of keep moving. I just really like Maggie Smith as a human being. I find her words very comforting, and so I'm really looking forward to this latest poetry collection. I've also seen a couple of the poems in advance just because she's been releasing some of them, or you can see them like on Amazon, so I'll throw a couple on the screen here too if you want to pause and read them and see if it's something that you think you would be interested in. But just generally, I love her poetry. I am so excited for another collection from her, and I'm looking forward to checking this one out. And then finally, the last book I had on my list I thought was coming out July 27th, but now looking at Goodreads it says August 10th, so it's potentially coming out at the end of July. Maybe it'll be the beginning of August, but it's a new thriller by Robin Harding, and it's called The Perfect Family. So last year I think was when The Swap by Robin Harding came out, and that was the first book I've read from Robin Harding, and I had a fun time with it. It was really fast paced. It was not the most like complex or interesting thriller, but it was just really fun to fly through. I don't know if I'm going to want to go back and like read Robin Harding's backlist of books, but I am interested in a new book coming out from Robin Harding. This one follows a seemingly perfect couple named Thomas and Viv Adler. They're the envy of their neighbors. They're super attractive, super successful. They have great, well-mannered children and a beautiful home. But then one morning they wake up to find that their porch has been pelted with eggs. Thomas thinks it's a prank, but then a smoke bomb is tossed on their front lawn and their tires are punctured, and they start to worry. Surveillance cameras show nothing but grainy images of shadowy figures in hoodies, and the police dismiss the attacks, insisting they're just the work of bored teenagers. But things keep escalating, and it turns out that everyone in the Adler family is keeping a secret, not just from the outside world, but also from one another. It's supposed to be super twisty and addictive, page-turning suspense novel. So it sounds like it's gonna have similar vibes to how The Swap did, where it's just like really propulsive, fast-paced, suspenseful, edge of your seat, kind of quick to flip through. So I am looking forward to this one, either at the end of July or the beginning of August, whenever it ends up coming out. So that is it for all the books on my immediate radar that are coming out in July. Let me know if there's anything I missed. Is there anything that you think I would really like that's on your radar that I just haven't heard of somehow, or I forgot about? And also just let me know, what is your most anticipated book of July? But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!